What if I told you that one of the most jaw-dropping engineering projects on Earth right now is happening in a country most people assume is stuck in the past? A country under heavy sanctions, facing economic pressure from almost every direction, and yet, quietly, methodically, building something so massive it stretches across 4 provinces, climbs over mountain ranges, and pumps water through 800 kilometers of pipeline from the sea straight into the desert heart of a nation. We're talking about Iran. And what they just pulled off might be one of the greatest feats of civil engineering the 21st century has seen so far. Let's build this story from the ground up. Iran sits on a paradox. It has over 5,800 kilometers of coastline along the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Oman Sea, yet its central plateau, where millions of people live, and where some of its most critical industries operate, has been dying of thirst for decades. Rivers that once fed entire civilizations are running dry. Aquifers that took thousands of years to fill are being emptied in a generation. According to the World Resources Institute, Iran is among the 25 most water-stressed countries on the planet. And the problem was getting worse every year. Isfahan, Iran's third-largest city and one of its most important industrial hubs, had been depending on the Zayandeh Rud, a river that has been shrinking under the weight of overuse, drought, and upstream diversions. Mobaraka Steel, one of the largest steel complexes in all of the Middle East, located just outside Isfahan, was literally running out of water to keep its furnaces running. When a steel plant starts rationing water, you know the crisis has become critical. So Iran made a decision. Instead of waiting for rain that wasn't coming, they decided to go get the water themselves, directly from the sea. Here's where the engineering begins, and it is extraordinary. The project is called the Oman Sea to Isfahan Water Transfer. In concept, it sounds straightforward. Pump seawater from the coast, desalinate it, and send it inland. In practice, building it was one of the most complex infrastructure challenges Iran had ever attempted. The pipeline starts at Sarik, a coastal town in Hormozgan province on the Oman Sea. From there, it travels north through some of Iran's most unforgiving terrain, through the heights of Debarez, across the rugged landscapes of Kerman province, through Yazd, and finally into Isfahan. The total distance, over 800 kilometers. That's roughly the distance from London to Edinburgh and back, all underground, all pressurized, all engineered to carry desalinated seawater continuously 24 hours a day. The pipe itself has a diameter of 2,000 millimeters, wide enough for a person to walk through. It carries water at a rate of 6.4 cubic meters per second. The desalination facility at the source uses modular reverse osmosis units, each capable of processing 100,000 cubic meters of water per day. Salt goes in, fresh water comes out. It then gets pumped uphill in many sections across 4 entire provinces. The project was completed in just 2 years, under sanctions, with no major international contractors. Iranian companies built it themselves. The total investment came in at around $292 million, and Mobaraka Steel Company, the primary beneficiary, acted as the lead private investor alongside government support. This was not a project built on foreign aid or international loans. Iran built it with its own hands. Now let's talk about what this actually means, because the numbers only tell part of the story. When they switched this pipeline on in December 2025, it wasn't just water flowing through those pipes. It was proof that under some of the most difficult economic conditions of any country in modern history, Iran's engineers and construction workers had built something that most nations with far more resources haven't even attempted. Think about the terrain this pipeline crosses. The route passes through mountains, desert flats, and extreme temperature zones where summer heat regularly exceeds 45 degrees Celsius, keeping construction crews working, keeping equipment operational, keeping thousands of tons of steel pipe aligned and sealed across that kind of geography. That is not a small achievement. That is world-class civil engineering by any standard. And this is just one project, because while the Oman Sea pipeline is the most dramatic recent example, it sits inside a much larger picture. Iran is quietly in the middle of a construction boom that most of the world is completely unaware of. Over 3,000 kilometers of new railway lines are currently under construction across the country. The Tehran North Freeway, 121 kilometers of 6-lane expressway carved through the Alborz Mountains, required 39 tunnels and 59 bridges, including one tunnel stretching 6.5 kilometers, the longest in Iran. The South Pars gas field development, shared with Qatar in the Persian Gulf, is one of the most complex offshore engineering operations on Earth, involving hundreds of kilometers of subsea pipelines, offshore drilling platforms, and onshore gas processing facilities. Meanwhile, Iran's southern coastline is being transformed. The port of Chabahar, Iran's only deep-water ocean port, is undergoing a major expansion with new container terminals and logistics infrastructure designed to make Iran a central corridor for trade between Central Asia and the open sea. Ports at Bandar Abbas and Bushehr are being upgraded in parallel. The Makran coast, once one of the most remote stretches of Iranian territory, is being positioned as a future industrial and energy corridor, with renewable energy projects under evaluation alongside new industrial zones. Under Iran's 7th National Development Plan, 68 major projects are being implemented with a combined investment target of $35 billion, aimed at dramatically expanding the country's petrochemical and industrial capacity by 2027. These are not small ambitions. This is a country that is building at scale. So why does almost nobody talk about this? Part of the answer is geopolitics. Iran's story gets filtered through the lens of international politics, sanctions, and conflict, and that means the building, the engineering, the sheer concrete and steel reality of what is being constructed there rarely makes it into the conversation. The narrative about Iran is set, and the engineers digging tunnels through mountains and laying pipe across deserts don't fit neatly into it. But the buildings don't care about the narrative. The pipeline is 800 kilometers long, whether anyone covers it or not. What Iran has demonstrated with the Oman Sea project is something that goes beyond any single country's story. It's a proof of concept for the entire world. We are entering an era where water scarcity is going to reshape civilization. Climate change is making dry regions drier. Populations in arid zones are growing. The old assumption that water comes from rivers and rain is being challenged everywhere from California to North Africa to South Asia. The countries that survive and thrive will be the ones that figure out how to engineer their way to water security, the same way Iran just did. Build a desalination plant at the coast. Build a pipeline strong enough and long enough to carry that water wherever it's needed. Build it through mountains if you have to. That's the blueprint. Iran built 800 kilometers of it in 2 years, under sanctions, with its own engineers and its own companies. The next time someone tells you a country is too isolated, too poor, or too constrained to build something great, remember this pipeline. Remember those 800 kilometers of steel cutting through 4 provinces. Remember what gets built when a nation decides the alternative is simply not an option, because that's what great engineering always comes down to in the end. Not perfect conditions, not unlimited budgets, just the decision that something has to be built and the will to build it.